Wow, wow. I want vagina abs to stick. That sounds so awful.
Daddy, what's that?
Cyborg, I want to point out that you can't say the word wolf. You said night wolf before, and it's pissed me off ever since.
No beta code. I'm surprised.
Not bowing down to the con. That's a paddling.
Hey, Cyrax boy, guess what?
Who the fuck doesn't like Yoshi?
I don't like Yoshi.
What the fuck?
Yoshi.
How do we feel about Tremor? Because I gotta say this. I want to see him come.
Yes, but it's because I'm actually peeing in a bucket at the bottom of my seat. So,
Naitara's design.
You know, you're saying Naitara again.
Oh shit, thank you.
Just let it go.
I'm on so many drugs at the moment.
Great. Glad to hear it.
Alright, well, I'm done being serious. We can talk about the taste of cock again. If that's what you guys want to.
Wait. What?
This is my fucking ass hanging out. What, bitch?
Are we
Guys,
even
not
recording right
understand-
now?
We're not recording, of course not.
wondering.
Nobody's gonna listen to this.
I hear like the sound of like bullets being loaded into a chamber and like shots being fired.
Is it like an air gun? I don't.
I'm hearing like Russian roulette like right up next to the mic. What's going on? Yep. Definitely taking shots with a rifle.
Welcome back to the Nethercast. I am Cyborg, joined, as always, by Razor and Shad. Temp is going to join us in just a little bit. He's going to come in a little bit late here, as soon as he's available. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this. Today we have the Nethercast 64.
Is it?
It's
Has
like
it really been 64 already?
it is 64. Somewhere a little kid is opening up their presents. They're just opening up the channel to listen to this episode, and they're going, Nethercast 64!
We are the only way to play Killer Instinct. We'll have you know.
Yes.
It's just not possible any other way.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it seems legit.
And for what you just heard for the first time, we redid the intro there, so hopefully you dug that. I threw in some clips from the episodes from over the years. A lot of funny clips that I took out from the first like 20 or 30 episodes, and some of them from a little bit later, but threw in some good ones, some running gags that we had, and just funny little moments. So that's what that was, if you weren't sure what the hell you were just listening to.
It's like at the beginning of wrestling where they have the little bits and then they flash the WWE logo
Yeah.
before the show starts.
Yeah, all right.
Those are our greatest hits.
It's all behind us now. It's all but crap from here. Far as the eye could see.
Oh, we peaked early, that's true.
Yes.
Garbage.
Happens to the best of us. Okay, well, let's jump into this so we can get this. We're going to knock out the Joker discussion and thoughts on the Joker reveal, so that way when Temp jumps on, we are actually going to give our 9 DLC picks, the wish list, so to speak, of the characters we all want for the DLC characters. If we could have it exactly how we want it and nobody else matters, we're going to give those lists. So usually when I give lists, I kind of include some that other people like, just because, you know, I got enough for myself at this point. I don't need everything catered to me. But for the sake of these lists, it's just, in a perfect world, what would make me the happiest for just me. But we'll get to that later. So starting off with what was revealed last Friday, the Joker. He was leaked a little bit beforehand, and we had known he was going to be part of the roster for a long time as well. But now we actually got to see him. We got to see gameplay, and actually got to see his trailer, his stage revealed, so on and so forth. So we gave kind of our brief thoughts on the leak last time. So Shad, why don't you kick us off on the actual trailer of the Joker, his stage, everything about him, the gameplay we saw. What are you feeling, sir, about Le Joker?
The Joker. The Joker looks good to me. I have no real complaints. I guess I get where all the Leto comparisons are coming from. I don't quite see it.
No, he's more Heath Ledger-y.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both,
Yeah,
maybe, but
it's like a hybrid.
It manages to be its own thing. So I'm pretty much pleased.
Just like a lot of things in Injustice, he manages to be a hybrid. Okay, that was fucking
More
stupid.
beloved dub.
Like zoink scoops.
I've
Okay.
still not seen Rick and Morty. I've got to do that.
Rick and Morty, yeah.
I really need to do that. Anyway,
It's alright.
no,
You mean
I'm a
it's-
fan of the. Sorry. I'm a fan of the Super. I like the crowbar smacks. With the electric chair coming out of nowhere, but it's far from the wonkiest thing to happen to any of these supers. And like, I mean, he looks like he plays really similar to how he did in the first one, with a couple of little tweaks and bonuses, and nods here and there. I'm kind of not convinced that this is like actually Joker. I feel like it might be someone else because the face looks so different. But I realize at the same time that's probably also them trying to give him a bit more of a realistically proportioned face in contrast with the more down to earth appearance of all the characters in this game and its engine and what have you. So I don't know. We'll see. At least at the most he's from another Earth. He's a fear gas induced hallucination. He's someone the Joker Jokerized. He's a contingency plan. Who the hell knows? All I know is I like what I see, and yeah, he looks a little bit dirty, but hey, that's what Gear's for, right?
Sure.
I have no real complaints about him. I'm happy. Looks fun to play.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that. I think he looks good in his design. I'm actually one that actually likes the way he looks. His base design, don't get me wrong, it's not like the greatest Joker we've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination. I think it looks okay, and I'm not offended by it. I think it looks fine. And with the gear being what it is, you can change his hair, you can change any part that you don't like about the way he looks, you can pretty much change. If you don't like the side long hair that he has in his base form, just give him the old classic kind of shorter cut like he has in The Killing Joke, or in more modern times, or just classic Joker in general. You can do all that sort of stuff. You can give him the big, hat and the suit and everything, the jacket. I don't know if we can full on give him like an actual tuxedo type suit, like his classic form, or not. I didn't see that, but he's got a lot of fun little gear things in there.
It's a given.
Sure.
I'll actually be very surprised if he can't incorporate his classic 70s trench coat over his standard outfit kind of look going on.
Yeah, I would be surprised as well. And we got to see a lot of his fun gear, like he has like a full-on jester hat, and then he has the bat cowl looking thing where it just looks like a Batman Halloween mask that's all like stylized. So
not going to be using the jester cap. It's a bit too on the nose.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I don't think I'll be playing the Joker at all, but if I were to play him, yeah, I wouldn't. That's a little much. I think he looks fine in his base form. Give him a suit, give him a tuxedo. You can go with the shorter hair. I mean, there's plenty of options there, and I think he looks just fine. So yeah, no, I mean, as far as his gameplay goes, I wasn't too impressed. I really liked his super, but as far as his game, well, I take that back. There was one move that I really did enjoy that they added. I love the running crowbar attack. That was really cool. And I thought that was great. So I love that move, and I loved his super. I thought it was fantastic. I'm a big fan of these supers that are just way over the top and completely unrealistic, but one moment you're fighting here, and then you're in the, torture room or whatever in the electric chair. So I'm cool with that. I think it's very fitting for the character, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm all for it. So yeah, I enjoyed his reveal, and I thought, honestly, the thing I liked about him the most was his stage. I love that stage. That stage is fantastic. Doesn't appear to have any transitions, which is a shame because there's a lot you could have done with like the Tunnel of Love or the mirror hallway or something crazy like that your opponent goes flying through, or they get knocked onto like a car, like a roller coaster car. Just some ridiculous crap like that would have been really interesting. But instead,
you never know.
Yeah,
you never know. I find it very hard to believe that they would give us that stage without any transitions. Maybe they're keeping shit back.
The only reason I say that, yeah, I mean, that's possible. Maybe in the final version there is a transition. Maybe the budget didn't, allow them to do a transition. Who knows? Because there's a lot of ideas that would be left on the table if not.
Debug settings, man. You'd be really surprised at like what companies can turn on or off for a stage demo when they really feel the need.
Sure.
So I wouldn't erase the possibility just yet. Keep hopeful. And I can think of personally no better stage for the Joker to be up on to have as his own representation of his area. Because other than, like, I don't know, maybe a giant, like the top of a cathedral somewhere, because that says I'm a Tim Burton sucker, but I'm really, really, really goddamn happy. I love when characters have their own stages. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I complete agreement. I should mention the only reason I said that it doesn't have a transition or seemingly does not is because on the select screen for the stages, ones that do have stage transitions have like brackets to show the different locations, and that one did not feature any brackets for other locations at all. But like you said, I mean, it's certainly not impossible that they are leaving it as a surprise. I certainly hope so, but
I'd like to believe.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I really like that stage. A lot of fun there, and yeah, just the character as a whole, I don't really have any complaints about him. His gameplay doesn't really do a whole lot for me, but it's not necessarily bad. I mean, it's fitting for the character. It's more, as we talked about last time, I'm just not really wanting to play the character in this setting. But as far as the character himself goes, looks great. He seemingly has a lot of fun gameplay, and love his super, love his stage. So yeah, I don't really have anything to complain about or be negative about on the character. It's just not for me this time around. Razor, your thoughts on the character?
I feel the same way as you do about the gameplay. As for the way he looks, I don't know, like, I don't have any major complaints about his design, except for the different gear for his lipstick that sometimes gives him a 5 o'clock shadow, makes him look like a fucking cosplayer, and, like, the Joker should not be able to grow facial hair to me. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't have no Joker.
Whenever it happens in the comics, it always looks fucking off. There's no way to make it look proper.
It's just so wrong.
Sure. Yeah,
But,
I could see that.
but other than that, like, I don't know, there's this weird thing, because he's still got the Richard Epcar voice, but his face is different, and so there's, like, my brain can't handle it. Like, I associate the Richard Epcar voice with, like, a longer, more, traditional Joker face, and now he's, like, this chubby-cheeked, handsome guy, sort of, and it just sounds like he should have a different VA.
Yeah, his face is a lot more realistic this go around. It could just be anybody, and you could take that as a positive or a negative for the Joker.
Like, I just
yeah.
can't imagine that voice coming out of that face. It doesn't work for me.
Sure.
Oh
I
yes,
can see that.
This is one of the many reasons I hated Kevin Smith on Batman. Him and whoever the hell was doing art, they had Joker in a hospital bed at one point, and he just had this black goatee and beard.
His beard
It's
was like
just fucked. It's not right.
it wasn't even green.
No, it looks wrong and horrifying. It should be green if he's gonna have it. That's
Yeah,
it.
like, all his body hair should be green because he fell in a fucking vat. It should be even across his body.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes total sense. If he's getting a beard, it's got to be a green beard. The logic does add up to this, so you're not wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the 5 o'clock shadow really bugs me, but it's optional gear, so I'm not, like, that broken up over it.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure he'll have a lot of fun gear. I mean, we saw a small taste of it in the videos, so I'm sure he'll have a lot more fun options as well, and callbacks to
I
classic
just
Jokers.
want to put him in a shirt. That's really the only thing. Everything else is fine.
Yeah.
I can't deal with... He has the word "ha" written on his chest in blood. How edgy can you be?
Yeah.
Is it blood or is it lipstick? I figured it was
it's
lipstick.
red, and it's drippy. I don't fucking care.
Okay. Didn't see a drip, but sure, I'll take your word for it. We're gonna be able to put some clothes on the guy, don't worry.
Yeah, I just...
You
I
didn't
can't be
see a
enough to
drip
care,
because you had
you
your
know?
eyes closed like a good little girl. Damn it. Okay.
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
Would you?
Goodbye, horses. All right.
Would you? Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me so hard.
All right, moving on.
Okay, so
That movie killed Q Lazarus' career before it could ever begin.
Candy Cane. Yeah, he was kind of a creep in a lot of his movies going forward.
I'm talking
Candy
about-
Cane.
I'm talking about the singer of Goodbye Horses.
Oh,
yeah,
I thought you were talking about that
Really
actor.
all
No, like-
nobody knows of that.
I don't know like what happened to him, but like she vanished off the face of the earth. People on Reddit are trying to find her. It's kind of morbid, really. Anyway,
But yeah, the only other thing that we should really kind of mention here before we get into our list, and hopefully Temp will be here for that, is that tomorrow we do have on Friday, I should say, depending when you're listening to this, we do have the stream coming up where they are going to break down Darkseid and two other characters. So shout out to Ishii. He wanted a Darkseid breakdown, and because he's all about that character, it made him want to buy the game, as I mentioned before. So cool beans on that, and he's going to get his breakdown. So I'm looking forward to that as well, as somebody that will potentially be playing him. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Not sure who the other two could be, other than maybe Joker or, I mean, there's been like Green Arrow and Green Lantern and stuff like that we still haven't seen.
Yeah, we've
broken
seen
down.
almost nothing of Hal as far as gameplay.
Yeah, and in the gameplay itself that we have seen in terms of like what's been posted up on YouTube from just random matches, a lot of it seems similar. So I would like to see a breakdown, if for nothing, just to see what's different about him, because everybody that has legacy gameplay at least has some new specials and abilities thrown into the mix, or a new.
Yeah, I'd at least like to see like the optional, like the equip stuff.
Yeah, but
because
The only thing
are
I really
pretty cool.
I think Hal's still got his little bashing move back. I know a lot of people aren't happy with his new throw because it seems anticlimactic with the girders falling on you.
Yeah,
like the girders.
They're okay.
Gotta respect the girders. You gotta respect them. And with that, we are joined by Temp. How you doing, sir? Sup. All right.
Sir.
So we just touched upon the Joker. I mean, I don't think your opinion's changed a whole lot on the Joker since last week, has it?
Not really. I think he's okay.
Okay. Well, let's get to the list.
Yeah, be cool.
Yeah, no, it's a good time.
That about sums it up. All right.
That's actually a really valid opinion because he's Joker. We pretty much know, or we think we know, what to expect from him in almost any form of media now. He's going to joke. He's going to cut you a little. He's going to smack you with a crowbar.
I do think it's interesting that they seem to be acknowledging that he's like, he is what the human costumes were for the Revenants in MKX. Like, he's not really canon, it seems like.
Yeah, well, like the bio maintains he is dead, but still haunting the cast. So, like I said earlier, it's not canon. This universe's Joker is gone.
I would bet money almost on he's just going to be a fear gas illusion, like a hallucination. So I think that's a go-to. I mean, he's said it in intros, not that that's going to be like exactly what it doesn't mean that's going to be in story, because a lot of things allude to things that aren't relative to story. But I think the only reason he's in, obviously we know why he's in the game, because it's the Joker and you got to have him. Yeah. But
now, assuming that is the case, here's my question. Why is everyone hallucinating the Joker shirtless?
Why not? You got a problem with that?
Slowly turning back up the Q Lazarus in the background.
Well, if he's the product of your subconscious, I mean, maybe you need to sit down and think about some things.
I got an extendable boxing glove for you, love.
Also, it's my
Roy
penis.
was right.
And when you said, you know what's interesting? I heard, you know what's NRSing.
DC is NRSing.
All right, here we go.
DC is NRSing hard.
Let's just do a little jig, and then we're going to move on to the DLC. Okay. So tomorrow, along with the stream, we are getting a DLC announcement trailer. Ed Boon has stated that we will get it at 8 a.m. Central tomorrow. So smack
8 a.m. Central.
Yep,
is it
smack dab in the morning.
8 a.m. Central.
Yep.
Wow, this will actually have happened by the time I am at work. Very nice.
So yes, the trailer will be out right there, and we don't know how many characters are being shown off. He showed a 5-second clip, which was of it starts off in where the first beginning cinematic was in, and it was like where they called the pit or whatever. They're just in like this random building fighting. But in this 5-second clip that he showed, you just see like Wonder Woman's shield laying on the ground, her sword. You see Aquaman's trident. You see some batarangs into the wall. You see Dr. Fate's helmet, so on and so forth. So it doesn't look like it was giving anything away, unless the people in the trailer are related to those characters, at which you could jump to conclusions. But yeah,
that kind of implies someone that's an enemy of the Justice League, wouldn't it?
It's possible, either that or it's just showing the death and destruction and that new characters are entering the fray. Who knows? But I guess we'll find out what the connection is. Some people have speculated you got Wonder Woman's shield, you got Ares, you got Aquaman's trident, you got potentially Black Manta, you got Batarangs, you got Red Hood. So, I mean, you could draw conclusions, but there's also Dr. Fate's helmet, so then that kind of throws away that theory. So who knows? But let's just jump into the list here. we will have that tomorrow. So with that being the case, we want to kind of throw out our wish lists on the characters that we want the most, the 9 characters that we're looking forward to, or not looking forward to, but that we're really hoping for and pulling for, and that would make us the most personally happy. Not characters that we're pulling for other people. In the past, I know I've put on my wish list for like DLC for MK, I put on characters that I knew you guys were rooting for or other people in the community were rooting for just because I wanted everyone to be happy. In this case, that's not what this is about. This is purely just, hey, if I got to choose 9 characters that I might play and that make me happy, that's what this is about. So just kind of give some laying the groundwork there. And we'll go ahead and do this for the sake of timeliness. We're not going to just go on huge discussions about each character because I'm sure there might even be some overlap between us, but just give a brief description of why you like the character. And then if we get through everybody's characters, then we can come back and kind of discuss some things as well. What are you typing?
Just copying my list from my phone over to my PC. I thought I had turned off the microphone so you wouldn't hear that. I have failed spectacularly.
That's okay. It's okay.
If you don't mind, I'm just going to get the clippers to drown out the sounds of my typing further.
I would prefer
a moment,
it
please.
Only if you can get some pretzels in there, and then maybe pour some wine while you're at it. If you could do all that at once, that would be impressive.
It's a lot of hands.
Throw in a burp, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe you could set up a Rube Goldberg machine that will do it for
Yes, do everything. All of it at once. Okay, so to kick this off, do you guys want to go in order from like most important or least important to you to most important, or do you just want to kind of do 9 and not worry about 9 to 1 or anything crazy like that?
Least to most.
Least to most. Okay.
Well, to be clear, how many are we choosing? Are we assuming there's 3 guest characters and we pick 6? How does this work? I'm
It's
sorry.
whoever you want.
Did you see my
So
message?
I don't want any guest characters.
I don't believe I did, no.
Okay. You're supposed to have 9 characters that you want as DLC. You don't have to go by any sort of pattern. You don't have to have any guest characters. You don't have to have any females, nothing like that. You're choosing 9 characters that would make you the happiest. You don't have to choose characters that you want for the community or for the game itself that you think would be healthy for it. It's just 9 characters that you, Temp, want the most that would make you, Temp, the happiest that you might play type of thing.
I like a vague order then. I mean, I have my 9. I've had my 9 for like 3 months, but yeah, it's
okay.
I would like some sort of, if possible. If it's not practical, it's all
fine.
good.
We'll start 9, and you can go last. So we'll start 9, and gotcha. I will start us off. My number 9 is Red Tornado. I have given my thoughts on Red Tornado in the past when I did the wish list for characters I hope made the game that we did like a year and a half ago before the game was even announced. So I'm not going to repeat myself. I think he'd be cool. I tried to think of a character that has a different skill set and ability set than what we currently have in the game, and I think Red Tornado fits that with his, wind abilities and stuff like that. Plus, I just think he would look cool in the game. A big portion of why I choose the characters that I do, I imagine them on the screen and how cool they would look and how cool I would feel playing them. And based on that, I chose Red Tornado. So we haven't really seen him in the comics. We don't really know what he's doing in this universe, and I'd like to see him introduced. Razor, you're up next.
All right. My number 9 is I want Sinestro back.
All right. Why do you want Sinestro?
I like lanterns. I don't feel the need to explain any more than that.
Okay, that's fair enough. Lanterns are good. I would be surprised if he's the only lantern that makes all of our lists. Shad, you're up.
Number 9 is Larfleeze.
Nice. That didn't take long.
Yeah, seriously. I could picture him as just having a reliance on little creatures that he summons up because he's kind of got everyone's souls in that ring or whatever the hell it was, or like he owns whoever touches rings. It's been a little while, but like I could see him as a character based around like controlling little things, kind of like Gargos and Ki or what have you. Maybe like just, I don't know, have them steal parts of your life, everyone's life bar or their energy. I definitely see a lot of potential here, and he wouldn't shut up during the entire fight, and the dialogue would be hilarious.
Absolutely.
I feel like not having Larfleeze in this game is kind of a wasted opportunity. If not this one, expect him for IJ3.
Definitely.
I love him.
Agreed 100%. What's yours is mine, what's mine is mine. Okay, Temp, you're up.
I'm straight.
I'm gonna start with the obvious. Shazam. I love him. He was my main. I miss him. It'd be cool if he was back.
Would you play him if he was announced at this point? Like, do you feel like would you rather play a new character or would you kind of go back to him?
Oh, I mean, it really just comes. It's a really good question, to be honest with you, because it just depends if he's the best fit. Like, I played him in Injustice 1 because he was the best fit. There was no character, gameplay-wise, I liked more. So I think he's a strong contender. God, though, like, I'm not done with Blue Beetle. Like, that's the thing. Like, Blue Beetle still hasn't had his fair shake yet, so it's an extremely hard question to answer. But if he's the best gameplay fit, then yes. There's no... Unless someone else on my list makes it.
Okay.
Like, he is number 9 for a reason.
Sure.
If someone else on my list makes it, then no, I will not pick him, even if he is the best gameplay fit. But right now, given the current cast, yes, if his gameplay still complements me the best, absolutely.
Alrighty then. All right, do you want to snake around, or does that get confusing? Do you want to just go back to the start? What are we thinking here? What do you guys prefer?
What did we just do? It was you, me, Shadowloo, Temp?
Yep.
Yep.
You want to stick
So
in
now
that
it'd
order?
be Temp, Shadowloo, Razor, Cyborg? Or do you want to just sort
Don't
around?
backwards it. That's fucking confusing.
You are
That's what
costing us the entire $20,000 pyramid, Tam.
Well, that is what a snake. That's what a snake order is. Is you come back the opposite. Anyways, we'll just go back from the start.
Circle.
That's
Just
why.
keep circling.
That's why I asked. That's why I asked. Okay.
Just for the drink.
Doesn't need to be complicated.
Okay. So my number 8 is Rorschach. He is my favorite Watchmen character. I like him. Actually, he's not one of my favorite DC characters, but if I had to put like maybe a top 20, he might crack that list. I think he'd be a really cool character. I enjoyed him in the movie, enjoyed him in the comics. I love the character's look. Once again, you're going to see a recurring theme here. I'm choosing characters that I think look really cool. I mean, some of them are based on gameplay and looks, or just gameplay, but Rorschach, not so much gameplay, but more, I feel like he would look badass, and therefore, while you're playing him, you look badass. So I think he would be a very fun character by that mean, and I'd love to see his changing face as the battle goes on. He's just a fun character. So that's my reasoning. Razor, you're up next.
All right. So my list has a few returning characters on it. I put them all at the end. So the next slot I would give to, actually, I couldn't quite decide who I wanted. Like, this slot is a cute girl who does magic. So either Raven or Zatanna would make me happy.
That's fine. That's fine. Sure.
Jesus.
Cute girl that
Why
does
not?
magic.
Sure.
Did you come up with that? Did you come up with that like qualifier before you chose who all fits there, or did you choose my character?
Well, I was thinking, man, I'd like Zatanna back.
Yeah,
man,
absolutely.
I'd like Raven back. But do I really want them both back? And it's the qualifier happens to be what they have in common.
Huh.
Yeah, Zatanna was a tough call for me because the reason, spoilers, she's not on my list, and I'd still love to see her back. She's obviously one of my favorite characters. She was number 2 on my wish list for the game, so it's definitely disappointing not to have her in, but there's so many characters I want in that I'm not that upset about it. But the reason why I didn't put her on the wish list for DLC is, frankly, I just don't like the idea of paying for the DLC character twice in a row. I just couldn't get past that.
That's sort of the reason that I was iffy about either her, because either one has a downside. With Zatanna, you're buying DLC 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
With Raven, they might not fix her face.
Yeah.
I think I have a second chance.
They gotta fix her face if she comes back. You know they would.
After all the complaints everywhere, the comparisons to inanimate objects, the ability to prepare vegetables using her chin as a cooking implement.
I also worry, though, like with NRS, I don't have this feeling with any other fighting game developer, but I have it with NRS. I feel like there are people on that staff who are stubborn, who do what they want to do and fuck the fans.
That's grounded, but yeah, there's evidence for that.
And it's a shame, but, like, I feel like somebody behind the scenes will be like, no, Raven is supposed to be ugly and sound manly. She's a demon. I've seen the 80s comics where her hairline is receding. And it's like, shut the fuck up. That's not the Raven anybody wants.
All right.
That was the Raven I was first introduced to, though, with this receding hairline. It was.
Yeah, but that was supposed to be like her mutating to be more
Demonic
like
possession and
that's not
Trigon,
the
and
default.
All
Just
right,
saying,
well,
I don't hate that look.
Raven / Zatanna, as long as it's a cute girl that does magic. Got it. All right. Shad,
I
your number
I
eight.
had to resist the urge to make my list like over half magic characters. So
Sure.
Raze, are you familiar with like Black Alice? Just wondering.
I am
'cause,
actually.
You know, I figured
I
she
haven't
should
seen her
have that
since
place.
reboot though.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
Like
Black
she's kind
Alice
of,
is
like
cool.
her gimmick is that she can copy anybody whose powers are magic. She can basically mimic them. So she would be like if you wanted a character on the slot who's like Mokujin or whatever, that would be the way to
She'd
go.
be a good choice for that. Yeah.
All right, Shad, your number 8. Hello?
Are you ready?
Oh my god, he
Yes,
disappeared.
I am.
Oh, okay.
I'm having problems with this fucking mic switch. Sorry.
It's probably the sock.
Right.
Mm.
Number 8 is the Shade.
Nice.
I mentioned this quite some time back. I still would like this character, the ability to cloak and smother people in darkness and play havoc with the actual battlefield itself would be really, really neat, I think. If done right, it would take a lot of patience and a lot of time, but there was a lot of love for the guy in Justice League Unlimited and some of the comics since. I just think it's a really, really neat design, and they could do cool things with him. I'm a fan of Shadows. Surprise.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you on that. I think he'd be a cool addition for sure. All right, Temp, you're number 8.
Once again, returning character. I also a cute girl who does magic. I picked Raven. I was very specific in not picking Zatanna because I feel like if you really want to do character justice, don't make them DLC. I maybe that's contradictory to the whole idea of making a list, but I feel like Zatanna done right needs to be done in a story mode default cast. I think Raven, since she's already kind of been through that already, I'm okay with her being DLC. Same thing with Shazam. I don't feel that way about Zatanna. So Raven, who I do think Raven, she's just one of my favorite DC characters. Definitely earned her spot. I would love to see her back. I will risk the redesign. I will risk the ugly bad chin if it means we make it a good design Raven.
Ah, man, you just disappointed me. Now I just realized, yeah, Zatanna's not going to be in the story mode. At least unlikely that she would be.
Well,
it's possible that
mean,
she is, but
they may pull a Lee May. We'll see.
yeah,
I
it's
don't
always
know.
possible. I don't.
Did
yeah.
Brian Chard say that Ed doesn't want to do that again because he hated all the complaining about those characters not being playable?
I don't know. But
I mean, that's
she'll
a
be in the
different
comics, I'm
opinion to
sure.
have. Like, there should be NPCs.
She'll be in the comics, so I'm cool with that either way. I expect
Yeah.
more from the comics at this point than I do from the game story. But moving on to my number 7 is 2 characters as well. It's the only time in my list that I had trouble deciding between 2, but they're both similar, and that is Saint Walker / Larfleeze. I want another lantern here. I have a hard time choosing between Saint Walker and Larfleeze. They are 2 completely different styles, but I love both of them. They're both 2 of my favorite lanterns. So I'd love Saint Walker just for the fact that, you know, you have kind of your peaceful, hopeful character that I imagine him playing very interestingly because, I don't know, just Blue Lanterns in general are really interesting. Plus, if we get Saint Walker, we could get a Brother Worth premiere skin, and that would be fantastic having a fighting elephant thing. So I would be all
That
for
would be kind of cool. I mean, the game has a gorilla, so why not?
Yeah, no, I mean, Brother Worth would be
I'd
amazing.
like to see this happen.
Yeah, so Saint Walker just for that reason, but Larfleeze has so much personality as well that I think I agree with you, Shad. He'd be a lot of fun. So one of those 2 characters I hope makes the cut. So for me, I'd at least like one of them. I figure in Justice 3 we might get more lanterns similar to how we got Atrocitus this time around. So maybe next time is the blue / orange lanterns debut. But hey, why not DLC? But yeah, that's my number 7. Razor?
My number 7 is sort of a returning character, but not. I picked Batgirl, but I don't want Barbara Gordon. I want Cassandra Cain, and her move list should be very different because she's much more of a ninja.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Cassandra Cain. I mean, you got Stephanie Brown. You got so many damn. It's like the Robins. You just got so many options with those. I would hate to see them just recycle gameplay just because they share the same name, so to speak, character.
Yeah, but no, like Cass is my favorite member of like the Batman family. So
cool. Yeah. All right. Chet.
We're back to me now. Okay.
Yep.
Going back to one that I brought up much earlier, Bronze Tiger.
Yeah, he was on your list.
We actually again we don't have that much in the way of martial artists apart from Batman himself running around this game. Sit down and like really think about it. There ain't a lot of kung fu fighting going on. It's mostly people just bashing each other around with powers and whatnot. And I continue to maintain that Bronze Tiger is a natural fit for a game like this. He'd be wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. And he was your number 7 on your wish list for the actual starting roster. So, yeah, no surprise there.
Was he actually still my number 7? Okay.
I believe so, yeah. He was your number 7 there, and he's your 7 here. So
I have that's coincidental, because I just, shuffle through this thing. I have a few on my list that I think were there prior, maybe a few that weren't. But yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, I
still feel the same way about Bronze Tiger, and I definitely want him in.
Yeah, I went back and looked at everybody's list, so I'll tell you if they were on your original list. But yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, I agree with you, though. The martial arts factor, it'd be interesting to see a character that's really just going crazy like that with martial artist type moves. I mean, he did appear in the comics at one point. I don't know if you're there yet, but he does appear.
Nope. I'm in the middle of that Mr. Mitzi Spicklick versus Trigon clusterfuck in Central Park, and
gotcha.
Now Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy are apparently holding hands, and the comics have been better. It's been worse. I'm not hating it entirely.
Yeah, but you've reached the point where
there's definitely a sense of we are struggling to find reasons to keep this going.
It's because you're past the point where the original writer was on board.
Yeah.
Mid-year 3s where he bounced out. So now you're to the year 4 and year 5. Other than the year 4 annual, which was the return of the original writer only for that annual. I won't spoil what that was all about because it's really, really good. It's one of the best issues in my opinion. But
wait, was that the Plastic Man one?
Well, you just spoiled it, but yes, it was.
Well, the character shows up. I didn't say what happens.
Yeah, okay. Shad, just don't even read it now.
Okay.
You
can just tell me right now, because Plastic Man is, in fact, on my list somewhere. Are you going to be chuckling when I bring him up? Is he dead?
No.
He's not dead. It's fine.
That issue is really amazing. If you love Plastic Man, you're going to love that issue. But anyways, we'll keep on going on. So, Temp, you're number 7.
I picked Star Sapphire, Carol Ferris, for my number 7.
A lot of people right now are like, you got that almost right. You just get rid of the Saf out of there.
oh.
But anyways, there's a lot of Starfire fans out there. But anyways,
you did there.
There are.
Yeah.
No, but
tell us. Yeah, Star Sapphire.
Yeah.
She was on your list.
I think she's a really good fit for the roster. I mean, this roster clearly has a theme to me. It's almost weird she's not there when I look at the select screen. I feel like thematically, just we're picking like A- characters as kind of the theme of the roster. B+, A-. It's kind of weird she didn't show up. I think it's really strange. At least
fair,
like Star. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, in the comics, she's in the Injustice world. She doesn't seem like she's Star Sapphire yet. Like nothing's shown her as Star Sapphire. Maybe we get that.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. Like even in the main universe, like her deal a lot of the time is that she has the ring and doesn't want to use it. Like she'd rather just work at her job.
It's kind of angle, really, because fuck this whole shit. All of this. Let the pros do this. This is too much. Fucking weirdo aliens that stuff babies in their crib backs. I don't want to deal with that shit. Carol's smart. Carol's very smart.
Oh man, they fucking yellow lanterns. But yeah, the thing is, like, I know what I had a feeling someone was gonna say that, and I think in a way that gives her a stronger chance of showing up because they kind of imply in Blue Beetle's bio the reason he doesn't show up is because he wasn't Blue Beetle yet. He didn't have the scarab back when Superman was creating the regime. Now he's got it, but he still has those awful memories of the tyranny and whatnot. I think they'll do something like this. They'll kind of put in an origin story for her. Well, I mean, obviously they can't do it now because she's on the game. But if she was DLC, though, they can kind of bio their way through it. I could see something like that happening. As for the character herself, she's not my favorite character. She's not even my favorite, like, Lantern. Nor is she part of my favorite Lantern faction. But, I mean, it's weird that we still don't have a lot of female characters in fighting games just all across the board. I don't want to pick on Injustice, but yeah, just I don't know why. I feel like there's still a smaller margin of female characters than there should be. So, Carol Ferris.
All right. So for my number 6, I chose Clayface because I still think Clayface would have tremendous gameplay, a lot of fun opportunities with him. I don't know what archetype he'd fall under in terms of rushdown, zoner, mid-range, traps, or anything like that. I mean,
it would be a lot like Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I really hope he wouldn't be like Swamp Thing in
not
the way
not
he...
exactly, but just in having like the long reach and everything.
Sure, yeah, I could see him playing a mid to long range, but I just think he'd be a lot of fun.
Conra sort of deal.
One story-wise,
pretty much like the only real reason I didn't include Clayface on my list is because we got Swamp Thing and there's already a lot of Bat villains. I tried to exclude as many Bat villains as I possibly could. It was not easy.
Yeah, pretty sure Clayface is the only Bat villain on my list, but I mean, we're almost guaranteed to get at least one more in there. I think we all know who that'll be, though, technically not villain. But anyways, Clayface for me, I think visually he would be a lot of fun and really awesome to see. Probably not so much for this game because the whole gear system, not sure what Clayface gear would look like, but yeah, I still think story-wise and gameplay-wise he'd be amazing.
I don't know about okay, honestly, they could just like have different parts of him stand in different idle animations, and there have been about 6 or 7 Clayfaces in the comics.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird assortment. Like, there's been a Clayface that's like a guy in a containment suit.
Yeah,
like,
I've seen that.
Almost Mr. Freeze-like, but the clay is inside a jar helmet.
Yeah,
pretty much. So
and he had like an acid touch power.
Yeah, there's ways you could actually work with this. One of them, I think the female Clayface had primarily kind of a snake-like body. There was also a snake, a Clayface child or something. There's a lot of places you could go with this if they were creative enough. Give him, I don't know, different blunt implements on his hands if he has those going on an idle pose, a pickaxe, a bit of brick, club, spiked club, who knows?
Yeah, that's a lot of what he did in the animated series. He'd always turn his hand into a different like object, like a mace or...
And that's why I think he would be visually very cool. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's best suited for maybe the next game or a future game, but yeah, I'd still like to see him. I would still be happy to have him, but yeah, I see the reasonings of why maybe not so much right now. But Razor, your number 6?
My number 6 is Aquaman's wife, Mira. Because I think the water powers would be really cool, and also it would be another female character.
Agreed. Yeah, she narrowly missed my list. I was contemplating between a few characters, and I like Mira as well, and I think she would be a fun character to have, because if I'm going to play Aquaman versus Mira, if I want water powers, I'd rather play as the girl. So, speaking of which, I listened to the part of the Warrior Shrine, and Redman said between Swamp Thing and Ivy, if they did the exact same thing, he'd rather play the big brute. No way, man. I want to play the beautiful character.
Me and Redman have talked about that a lot off recording. We've discussed that in great depth.
Well, I know you're on my side on that. You'd rather, if you're going to look at something all the time, you'd rather...
It's the reason Lara Croft was created. The developer said, if I have to stare at a butt all game long, I'd like it to be a nice butt.
There you go.
But anyways, okay, so Mara's your number 6. Chad, your number 6?
Black Mana.
Well, you made Smoke Man happy.
I'm sorry. If there's gonna be one other Aquaman character in the game, I think it should probably be the character that people generally give a shit about. Included.
I mean, I thought about that, and I was like, but I like Mira better than that.
That's where I was with
fair,
it, too.
I don't give a shit about Mira. I don't give a shit about Ocean Master. I want Black Man in this game because he looks cool. The dorky helmet is dorky, and it looks cool. How is it even possible? I think he's like just. I love the design, even though it doesn't make any kind of fucking sense. I want to see what they can do with him. It's
a
nice.
mix between Darth Vader and Alpha 5.
Yeah,
I just
pretty much.
If he makes the game, I need a Hey Arnold premiere skin.
I want characters to say in the dialogue to call him Football Head.
Yeah, move it, Football Head. Yeah,
And like, I see no reason why we can't like have him throw some of the nastier creatures at the deep at his opponent. I don't know. I don't think he can actually control animals at all, or ever has. But no, maybe I'm gonna rely on tech, lasers, and shit. Give him a super move where he murders Aquaman's child, like that one time in the comics.
dear God.
Like, he doesn't attack the opponent, he just makes the opponent watch him kill the kid.
Bubble comes out, suffocates the baby.
It's like poison
Aquaman
ivy
goes
somebody
down.
doing it to, and they're like, I don't even like Aquaman.
Now you're selling me on the character. I like the idea of that super. It's a good one.
Kills a baby. All right, there you go.
All right, Temp, you're number
We
6.
need more justification.
No, we're good. I think we've heard enough. Temp?
Oh, I'm still on.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, no, Mira just barely missed my list. Like, barely. Like, she was my favorite part of Blackest Night. Like, if Raven, had I not had like a history with the Teen Titans, she probably would have beaten Raven. I would love to see her in Injustice, but no, she's not on my list, unfortunately. Talia is my number 6, and it's a little embarrassing now because she was my number 1 back when we made the top 7 DLC, and I still really like the
7 wish
character.
list of the thing.
Yeah, you've been pushing Talia for a while. So.
Yeah, and I still like the character. I was kind of in a prisoner of the moment when I said that because I was just kind of getting back into Batman, and I do think out of all the Batman characters, her relationship with Batman is the most interesting. I still stand by that, and I still really like the character, but I can't in good consciousness put her in consciousness. I can't make her number 1. I can't make her number 1. Great character though, number 6.
She's also Damien's mom. There's some good dialogue to be had there too.
That's true. That is very true.
Though they did potentially hint at that she is no longer alive.
Yeah, but we talked about this last week. If your last name's Al Ghul, it doesn't count.
It's true. It is true. And yeah.
Lazarus fits.
Yeah, no, I thought about that, and I feel like that's more reason to make her DLC because they wouldn't want to put her in Injustice 3. Like, that's just get her out of the way, just knock her out, you know?
Yeah.
We'll see, though.
Yeah, that's what they did with Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is exactly what they did.
Indeed.
Okay. So, number 5 for me is actually Constantine. And don't know how cool he would be for gameplay-wise. I mean, obviously he's a magic user. He could use magic. He can throw some fists around in a drunken brawl type of thing. I would be cool with that. I'm happy with that enough. But if we're to believe that, he's not really much of a fighter, that's not really that's not really how he usually operates. To me, Constantine's sold by 1, he looks cool. I like the trench coat. I like the cigarette. I like the tie. I would just be sold by his personality. I want to see his intros. I want to see what he does, interacting with each character. I want to see, I just want to see him in the game, and I want to see him included. He was a reasonable part of the comics, and kind of part of the what made up my list of characters is if they played somewhat of a big role in the comics, I wanted them on my top 9 because the reading through the comics really kind of changed my perspective on how I choose characters for this game. I don't want just characters that I liked growing up or liked for whatever comic I read growing up or this or whatever. I want some characters that are involved in the Injustice world that I want to be able to see and play in the actual game. So the nice thing about the comics is they can really sell you on characters that you weren't, particularly sold on before, such as Black Canary. I'm happy to see her make this game because the comics really sold me on the character. I thought she was tremendous in the comics, so therefore I want to see Injustice Black Canary in this universe. Constantine's very similar to that, so I'd love to see him in. Razor?
So my number 5 is a guest character, and normally, I come down on the side when we're talking about MK of not liking guest characters, but I feel like it's different for a superhero universe because, especially DC, like, they're all about the multiverse. Superheroes cross over all the time in the comics anyway, so why not?
Sure.
And it's also an MK character, which I know a lot of people are like, we didn't like Scorpion in the last one, but I picked Johnny Cage because it's Johnny Cage, and I want to hear him fucking interact with people.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, between like a Booster Gold or Johnny Cage, but I get why you would choose Johnny Cage in that front because his intro dialogue alone would be tremendous and worth it. So
yeah, and the other thing is, like, we already know we're getting Sub-Zero, and like when the poll was up, I'm pretty sure I voted for Johnny, not Sub, and like I feel the same way about Sub-Zero as I do about Jason being an X and Freddy being a 9. If there's a character who has an arch nemesis and you don't put them in the same game, you're fucking stupid. So I'd rather have Johnny than Sub-Zero, because Sub-Zero should be where Scorpion is.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's that.
All right, Shad.
Let's see, the next one up. Plastic Man. Like I mentioned before, he's on my list. I kind of feel like he never gets the love he really deserves. I kind of feel like the game could use a Dhalsim kind of character, perhaps. Someone who zones not necessarily with projectiles, but just, kind of maybe plays the keep away game, but kind of sort of can do anything. I don't know. I feel like he is like the perpetually odd man out member of the Justice League because he's so goofy and wacky. And, I think he just contrasts really well with the ultra gritty tone of this game.
Yeah.
They couldn't put armor on him. It wouldn't fucking work at all.
Well, that would be the thing. Like, the gear is him, like, molding his body into the shape of armor to make fun of everybody.
Oh, don't give them ideas. Okay, yes, please give them ideas.
No. Here's a good idea for Plastic Man.
This.
Here's a good idea for his gear. He can mold his body into different faces on the roster. So, like, you can have Superman's face, but it's kind of Plastic Man up. So it's not exactly Superman, but it looks like Superman, but with, like, some of Plastic Man's personality. Or you could take Sinestro out of the comics, or characters that maybe don't make the roster. And he's just doing faces from not on the roster. So you can, I think that would be great gear.
Well, it would piss some people off, but it'd be funny. I'd enjoy it.
That would be amazing.
Like, maybe he could not just, like, parody the armor. He could also, like, he'd have gear that's like, how many pouches can I fit on my body? Let's make fun of the 90s.
See? Yeah. All the potential is there. I just think he'd be really, really fun to play. And again, the whole interaction factor, he's a fun character. He doesn't get to play big parts in a lot of outside media. Hell, I don't even remember him having a big part in the Justice League cartoon. So
he never showed up in the Justice League cartoon.
Never?
Because he was mentioned once, like he was off screen, and the elongated man was like, "What can he do that I can't do?"
Which is basically kind of elongated man's character in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I'm the new Plastic Man. Love me. Forget that guy. But
no, he was in the newer Justice League cartoon, like the one that Cartoon Network never airs.
Yeah.
And he's voiced by Master Shake, and it's great.
Cool.
But yeah, knowing your thoughts on the character, you're going to love that issue, by the way. Anyways.
Excellent.
Yeah, so number 5 for you, Tep?
This one's kind of like Carol Ferris, only on a much grander scale. I think she just fits well into the roster. I'm going to say Circe. And that reason I just listed, of course, is very important. But I think from a gameplay perspective, she would be so fucking interesting. To turn your opponent into different animals, like to turn Gorilla Grodd into a slightly smaller gorilla, that shit's fun to me. I could have a lot of fun with it. It's like the opposite of Beast Boy. So that's cool. I can see it. She's also, I mean, I'm only mildly researching the character, but she can operate on buffs. I feel like she could literally have Wonder Woman's trait, only it's not armor enhancements. It's stats enhancements. So that could be really fun. Speed increases, life increases. Just seduction. She could have, Quan Chi's trance. And Quan Chi basically had buffs in Sorcerer, in the variation Sorcerer. So, yeah, no, I mean, I like her design. I don't think I need to say much more than that. I think she would look really good in a next-gen game design-wise. Her gear would be awesome. Oh, right now, if people are wondering why I picked so many women on my DC like DLC list, I mean, part of it's a coincidence, but I mean, subconsciously, I think all the women are working the gear system better than anyone. I'm not really impressed with any of the male characters, especially some of the weirder ones like Swamp Thing. The women are all rocking it out as far as the gear goes. So, last but not least, I like to see like the Mirror of Circe for her super move. I think that would be really sick. Yeah, I just think it's very kind of more what I wanted with Scarecrow. Scarecrow was a little more tame than not he's fucking broken, but he was a little more. His design is a little more traditional than I thought. A little more traditional, slightly more traditional. So yeah, Circe, I think she'd be awesome.
Yeah, I dig Circe. I mean, Circe, remember, made my top 7 the wish list.
I do remember that. That's what made me a researcher, by the way.
Yeah. I didn't put her on my DLC list because, again, I was like, I don't want to have too many magic women on my list.
Oh, man, you can never get enough magic women.
Yeah, maybe not. All right, I guess Cyborg.
Yep, number 4. Number 4 for me is Deadwing. I feel like if we're gonna get, well, there's a couple reasons why I feel like this character just makes all the sense in the world. One, Nightwing's popular as shit. It turns out I did not know that, but
I think
now
Dick
I understand.
Grayson is like top 5 all-time DC characters.
Yeah, I was looking at a lot of lists of like top 100 DC characters when I was trying to research like characters to kind of refresh my memory, make sure I didn't forget anybody. And damn, Dick Grayson / Nightwing made it on top 10 of a lot of lists, and I was like, holy shit, I did not know that so many people love this character. Anyways, the reason why I put him on here, also, he makes a lot of people's DLC hopefuls. He was like number 3 or 4 on that one that we ran by a few weeks ago. But the reason why I put him here, actually, is not necessarily just because of Nightwing's popularity, because obviously this is my list, so I want what I want. But in this case, I like Nightwing, not to that degree, but I do like Deadman, and I feel like, hey, if we're going to get Deadman in the game, and people love Nightwing, why not just combine the two, because that's how they are in the comics now, and it's an Injustice, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is an Injustice original character of Nightwing as Deadwing, Nightwing as Deadman, and so getting us Deadwing. So why not have that character? Why not bring back some of the legacy gameplay, but then give him a lot of ghostly moves, a lot of incorporeal moves and ethereal moves, stuff like that can kind of mix it up, give him some acrobatics to play up Deadwing's or Deadman's power set as well. So basically, just combine the two. Take everything that was great about Nightwing in Injustice 1, add in some Deadman moves, you can throw in some more abilities as well, and just kind of give the best of both worlds and have his look be Deadwing. Have him be referred to as Deadwing, and yeah, continue that story, because as far as I'm concerned, he still was alive and kicking in the comics, so let's see him continue. I love to see his interactions with all the characters. So Deadwing, number 4. Razor?
I would like it to happen. I would.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be cool. I hadn't really thought of that. I almost put Dick on my list, but then I figured he'll probably be a premier skin for Damien that turns the sword into a staff or something.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That would look so weird to me.
That would be weird.
Such a strange look.
It'd look weird, but man, Deadwing is the way to go, because then they can kind of say, hey, this is our own original character, kind of like true. How the animated series had Harley and Montoya. Why not give Injustice Deadwing? Now it's Dick from here on out.
I mean, the thing though is that eventually Harley and Montoya moved over to the comics, and I don't think anybody wants Dick Grayson to die in real canon.
Well, yeah, no, I know.
God no.
He can stay in the Injustice world, and I think that's a perfect place for him. I think it's a really cool character hybrid. So, yeah, why not get Deadwing as a character? I think it's. I honestly would be more surprised if it doesn't happen. I feel like they're kind of missing a big opportunity if they don't run with that. I don't know if they ever thought about putting them, but I mean, they have to read their own comics, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in Injustice 2 that proves that they actually read the comics, so yeah. I would not be surprised to see Deadwing.
Definitely. So, I mean, yeah, maybe that's why we partly get a flashback and story mode going back to that whole thing, is to refresh on that. Who knows? But your number 4? So anyway,
my number 4. This is another guest character, and I was thinking, because people keep asking for like Spawn or Hellboy or Neo from the Matrix for some reason, and I was thinking like,
What the fuck, people?
Oh no, you're
Really?
right. I remember
It's
that
'cause
now.
Really?
it's because the Matrix is Warner Brothers, and because Ed Boon keeps talking about it. But anyway, I was thinking if I wanted like an independent character, like a superhero that's not from Marvel or DC, to show up in this game, who would it be? And this is a weird pick because it's never come up on the show before, but I'm a fan of Power Rangers, so I picked Tommy the Green Ranger.
I thought you were gonna go Invincible, and you just
Huh.
took a left turn. I was
Yeah,
like, "Are you
see
going
that? Even as I
Invincible?"
did there, I told you it's a weird pick.
Okay,
So
like,
that's a
that
good
is-
pick, though.
yeah, not bad.
No, Power Rangers is having this
Huh.
like big weird resurgence this year. Like the movie came out, and they have their own comic book series now, and there's a comic where they cross over with the Justice League. So that's what made me think of it. And like, the cool thing with Tommy is like, first of all, Jason David Frank will work for fucking Peanuts, so you can actually get him to do the voice. Like he'll do anything to put him in the public eye. He's playing himself in like YouTube videos where he fights Ryu and Scorpion. But like,
Alright.
there's all these cool things you could do with the gear where you make him like the different colors he's worn. Like he could be the White Ranger, or the Red Ranger. Or, like his super, he could summon the Dragon Zord and like shoot missiles at him, and then like hit him with the drill tail. I just think there's a lot of fun things you could do with a Power Ranger.
You could, I mean, you got the gear options with all the million different versions of Power
Yeah.
Rangers they went through over the years.
Dude, put the ponytail on his gear? Fuck yeah. I'm down.
As long as when he fights, he actually says "Hutsi Aya,
Exactly.
Hutsi Aya."
That's what you're guaranteed to get when you bring in Jason David Frank.
I was like, I always wondered
It's
that
the
when I was
minimum
younger.
wage, pretty much.
I was like, is he saying "Hutsi Aya"? Like, what is he doing?
Well, he has a funny story where the network censors thought he was swearing and told him to cut it out.
hey, hey, this is a family show. Cut that shit out. Anyways, you're number 4, Shad.
Clock King.
Clock King?
Clock
I like
King.
it. I like it a lot.
Sure.
Fuck yeah.
I'm not
Clock
even
King.
joking. Like,
No.
that's a good pick in my
No,
opinion.
not at all.
It's
Give
a
me
weird
Clock
pick,
King.
but I can see it.
Give me fucking Clock King. He's winding like he's swinging around his fucking stopwatch. Give me it. He's using a giant hand from a clock.
He's got like perfectly timed moves.
Like,
like
I don't
he
feel
knows
like
exactly when to
justifying
karate
myself.
chop.
Clock King. Any version you want. All the versions. All the gear. All the costumes. Especially stupid giant clock on face. So when he beats you,
Yeah.
when he beats your ass, his face says it's 10-2. You know why? You know why? The biggest reason that Clock King in this game leans in toward a microphone. Because it's time.
All right.
Sounds
Dude, but like for real though, for gameplay, like if he could like fuck with the clock, like if he has a life lead, he could actually like trim seconds off the clock. That would be sick.
I mean,
Sweet Jesus, yes.
I don't think the character actually has manipulation of time, but I'd say I'll allow it. I'll fucking pull the judge from
Well, no, it's not
Celebrity
that he's manipulating
Deathmatch.
time. You just showed up to the match early. You're late, so the clock starts
Yeah.
at 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's awesome. There we go.
I think it's cool. I think it's awesome.
Like he's already waiting. Like he just gives you, as long as the voice actor is from the animated series, because that Clock King was amazing.
He was
yes.
the best.
You're 30 seconds late. It's time to get an ass whooping. Yes, that I love that pick. So good on that. All right, Temp, you're number 4.
Thank you.
When I
Yeah,
first
no, I like
when we
that
did
pick as
when,
well. That was
when we did our
Uh-huh.
comic book reviews, and when he first showed up, I was freaking out about the Clock King. I love him.
he's tight. He's cool.
All right, you're number 4.
Okay. Number 4 was also inspired by the Injustice comics, kind of like your choice for Constantine was. I picked a character who I thought was a lot of fun and who I thought would just be really interesting from a gameplay perspective. My number 4 is Etrigan the Demon. And
Nice.
I think with gear, you can make this character really fucking cool. Because he's basically kind of like from a period piece in a way, you know? So, Plus, you have the demonic aesthetic. You could take this character in a lot of different directions. You could change out capes, change out armor. You can make him look all, like, I guess, demoniac, but you can make him look classy, too. You can give him, like, a Victorian sort of, fluffy blouse. I don't know. You can make it interesting. You can make it cool. The game really speaks for
like
itself.
an ascot, like Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, I couldn't think of the name Ascot. Yes, you can give him an Ascot. It could look amazing. God, just different cape designs, and just great dialogue too, because he's kind of two people in a weird way. He's someone controlled by another.
I would love to see NetherRealm be forced to write all the intros rhyme.
Good choice,
Yes.
though. They honestly, I have faith that they can do it. We've had such creative and great intros from the staff over like the fact that we can see like this game and MKX. I believe that they could really easily pull this off.
I'm sure they could do it, but I want to see it. Like, I think it would be great.
Yeah.
I think it'd be easy, honestly. But what's up? Go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, as far as Etrigan goes, I didn't have him on my list, but he was definitely one of the front runners. Like, if I could expand it even further, he was one that I was kind of thinking about adding to the list. So yeah, I'm glad you had him on yours.
I think it's actually a really, really wonderful choice, and I kind of hope that this happens. Shit.
I think it could. I don't think it could happen for DLC, but I think he's a very strong runner for Injustice 3. I think he's kind of like going to be the Grodd of the next game, in my opinion.
I feel like he stands a reasonable chance. I mean, he's not.
He's
not requested a ton, but at the same time, he did play a role in the comics, and I have seen people request him, so I don't think it's entirely impossible. I doubt all 9 characters are going to be exactly the top 9 most requested characters. You're going to get some that just kind of fall a bit further down that list that they want to include. So, anyways, yeah, good character for sure. We're on number 3 now. Number 3 for me is Plastic Man. So I'm completely in agreement with everything Shad said before, and I fell in love with him after that issue in the Injustice comics, and he just seems like a lot of fun. He's funny. He could be that jokester character of the game and provide that, comic relief that, as you said, is needed in this universe. And yeah, I just think he'd be a lot of fun. His moveset would be really, really interesting. You could mix some Dalsim type stuff in there. You could throw in just all sorts of shape shifting, and there's just a lot of fun. I mean, he could, as part of his super, he could just turn into like a bench and just beat his opponent. Like, I don't know, just stuff like that could be really interesting to me.
That would be sick.
And hopefully, I think he stands a reasonable chance. I feel like Ed Boon at one point said he wasn't going to be in the game, but come on, I don't see any reason not to include him. So, yeah. My number 3. Razor?
My number 3 is somebody I picked back in my wish list of 7. It's Mirror Master.
All right.
Because I still think, like, one of the coolest things you could do moveset-wise is have him, like, summon clones the way Noob Saibot does. Like, that's something I really want to see in gameplay. Also, like, in terms of, like, the Injustice story, they have, like, the rogues are all dead except for Captain Cold. But in the comics, there's actually been 2 Mirror Masters, and the second one is a way more interesting character. So I'd sort of like to see that guy show up and pick up the dead Mirror Master's gear. And what made him so interesting, his name is Evan McCulloch, and he's got a Scottish accent, and he's a drug addict. And it's really fun to see him interact with Cold, because they don't really get along well, because he's always snorting coke, and Captain Cold is like, stop that, I'm trying to do a job. He's always like kicking his ass for being high.
I feel like his outro is going to be just him doing meth, and then a message comes up on the screen, not even once.
Yeah.
That is a legitimate reason for not liking somebody, is they're always doing coke. That could be a peeve after a certain point.
But he's Scottish too, so he's sort of like Kano, like he's the guy with the funny voice.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of get that with Captain Cold himself, or not Captain Cold. What am I thinking? You can get that
Boomerang.
Yeah, well, I was thinking
Boomerang.
Constantine, but yeah, Captain Boomerang is obviously another go-to for very thick foreign accent where you can get some funny lines.
Yeah, Boomerang would be alright, but he would overlap a lot with, like, all the other guys who throw batarangs.
Yeah.
And like, I just didn't put Constantine on my list because as much as I like the character, he's sort of... I feel like him in a fighting game is weird, because, like, if you make him good at fighting, like, that's not what the character is in the comics, and if you make him do as much magic as Dr. Fate, he's not supposed to be... Like, he's a con man who magic is one of his cons.
So maybe he just pays his opponent off as a super and he instantly wins.
That'd be tight.
All right. Okay. So Mirror Master for number 3. All right, Shad.
The question. No question. The question. Don't know how you fuckers can have Rorschach on your lists. Yes, Watchmen was cool. Yes, Watchmen is great. Yes, Watchmen is currently being forced down the throats of anyone who's currently reading DC Comics, regardless of whether or not Watchmen is an appropriate series to shell out to make money with, considering it was a deconstruction of the entire genre to begin with. But anyway, question is just...
with Watchmen.
I fuck it.
I do
give
have
the original characters time to shine.
Question for you. Well,
yes.
No pun intended.
Exactly.
Damn it! God damn it!
Thank you. You know something I don't as a
I seriously didn't even mean to do that. I do have a serious question though, and that is, how do you feel about Montoya as the question?
I loved her.
Okay.
And I don't particularly care whether or not it's like the original or it's a Montoya. I want the question in this game. Stylish, potentially funny if we're going to go down the Justice League route. I would personally love to see him just pick up a potted plant off the ground and throw it at people. I don't know. Seriously.
They already have his voice actor on payroll.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, see,
I've always loved the character.
I'm with you. I like the character too, and I almost put Montoya as the question on my list. That's why I had to ask, because I was looking for more female characters to add, and Montoya I really enjoyed in the comics, and I do like the question. So I was like, hey, why can't we just have the best of all those things combined, and we can just throw that in, and just narrowly missed.
I have to confess, I have trouble thinking of what kind of special moves the question might have in a fighting game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny that it's like the best possible choice, but that's pretty much... He's really, really high up on my list of fuck all of the considerations this one would want to see in a fighting game. I've always loved the question.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. So
I don't know.
I cannot even tell you.
Like teleporting stuff.
Pretty much, just like kind of fading into the background, like a Jason Voorhees style teleport. I can think of that.
Yeah.
Dropping off the ceiling, maybe appearing through the ground or something. I have no idea.
Well, they always do this gimmick where, like, when he puts on his costume, that he uses a smoke, like a gas, and like a smoke bomb almost. But it always, they always draw the smoke curling in the shape of a question mark because they think it would look cool that way.
They are right, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a good gimmick.
All right. Temp, you're number 3?
This one's kind of complicated to explain, but this is even more so than Etrigan. I think this is kind of my out of nowhere pick. I'm going to go with Miss Martian.
Nice.
That's not
very
nice. I wouldn't say that's... I honestly considered her as well. So.
Well, it was actually kind of a hard pick and there's a few reasons. One being, like, even though generally if you give me doubles, I want to go with a female counterpart. That's not really true here. As a character, I do prefer Martian Manhunter, but as a design, I think Miss Martian looks a little more inspired to me. I like the design a lot. But another reason is I don't want to fucking make Martian DLC again. That does nothing for me. Make him a default character.
Right.
If you want to do Martian right, I don't want another DLC character with another semi-potentially, but probably non-canon ending. No, we've done that already. If we're going to bring back a Martian, let's take a different approach with it. And I think there's a lot of potential for her. And I think she's unsung. I don't know. She was popular with Young Justice, and she kind of dropped off. I don't know I guess maybe When Martian Manhunter was banished into the void, he dragged her down with him, and we haven't seen either since. I haven't kept up with the comics as far as
Well,
either of those
I think
characters.
it's like when they rebooted, she was one of the characters they didn't bring back, I think.
Yeah.
Because that would have required them to use Marshall.
Yeah, no, and I think if we're doing the DLC route, I don't want to do John Jones again. I no. Let's do this. I think this makes nothing's gonna make everyone happy for Martian Manhunter. This will make a lot of people happy. It'll make me happy. So yeah. That's my pick.
To be fair, well, not to really be fair, because I'm with you 100% on everything you just said, but
Awesome.
It has been noticeable that the Martian Manhunter train hasn't really happened this time. Like, I have not really seen that big uproar this go around. I think people were at least happy they got him in the first game. I don't feel like this game the big uproar is about Red Hood and Starfire this time, and maybe a couple others, but I don't really see that for Martian Manhunter.
It's a pick your battles situation. It's like you can't win the same fight twice when it was that hard.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I think people are just tired, I think fans have changed a bit too. I think DC's plan of kind of phasing out Martian is further into effect, so, he's kind of out of sight, out of mind for a lot of people, unfortunately. I don't think that was true 4 years ago.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you 100% on... I thought about Miss Martian for the exact reasons you mentioned. It kind of brings in that Martian Manhunter flavor. It's not him, but I wouldn't want him as DLC twice in a row either, so... That's kind of where I was at as well, as contemplating her. But all right, my number 2 is Batwoman. And
nice.
That's the same thing based on the comics, she is the character that, out of everyone, she's the one that I went from the lowest to the highest in terms of how much she climbed in my interest level. I wasn't like disliking of Batwoman. My wife has the first volume of Batwoman and she really liked it. I have not read any Batwoman myself, but
you should.
Oh, I know.
It's a really good book.
No, I know. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and since I have the first volume, I should get around to reading it, especially before Injustice. But the Injustice comics made me a fan of this character just by how much she did and how much she was a part of, and that she stuck it through from the very beginning, where she was, kind of. It was just interesting how much she kind of evolved and really ranked up amongst how, the role that she was playing amongst the group in the Injustice comics. And to see her, stick around for that long, I want to see her in the game. Anytime I see a character that involved in the comics, I'm wondering to myself, why are they not playable in the game? They should go hand in hand to a degree. The comics in the game, I mean, not everything's going to be the exact same. But at the same time, if there's a prominent character in the comics, why not have them playable in the game? To me, it just feels weird. And for her to not make the initial roster is odd to me. So what better way than, I guess, DLC? So if she's DLC, I'm a happy guy because I think she deserves it amongst anything. And yeah, she'd be fun. But this character is just purely, I feel like she deserves it. For as much as she's done in the Injustice comics, in this world, in this universe, she wasn't even really acknowledged in the first game. So she's not been acknowledged in the games, other than she was briefly mentioned in one of the intros so far in Injustice 2 that I heard. So yeah, bring her in, because I think that's kind of ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, you make a lot of good points there. Like, of all the characters that show up in the comic, that, like, she gets the most screen time out of anybody who's not in the game, I would say.
Absolutely. I can't think of a single character that was a part of one of the sides and was in so many issues and so many panels that didn't make the game this far. You have your characters that stuck around for like a year or so, but she's been there from the start, and to just not bring her in the game to me is just absolutely odd. So, and I mean, she's one of, she has an ongoing series now, doesn't she? Am I?
Yeah.
I mean, so I see no reason why they wouldn't want to capitalize on that. So,
well, I don't know if she has her own solo book, but I know she's like the main character of Detective Comics right now, which is like a Batman team book.
Gotcha. So yeah, I'd love to see her. Then you bring in like the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual type of acknowledgement as well of her character and her backstory, which is just another plus of what the character is bringing to the table. So I'd say bring all that in, bring her in, and yeah, if she doesn't make this game as DLC, honestly, at this point, I'm gonna be disappointed. I can't say that about many characters because I'm super happy with the game's roster overall. But she's one character. If she doesn't make the cut at all, I'm gonna wonder what the fuck.
No.
Why have her so prominent in the comics, but
I-
not willing to put her in the game?
I can't disagree with the thing you said. It's probably high time that she does get some goddamn exposure.
Yeah,
I can't think of a single big piece of media apart from the comics that she's actually ever figured in. There was that mystery of the Batwoman animated series, but that wasn't the same Batwoman. That was a different time.
No,
and it was
yeah,
horrible.
that
was
was
very horrible.
the only thing holding her back is I don't see her
No.
demanded a lot. In the big old list that we went over a few weeks back of characters that people would prefer as DLC, I think she was somewhere from the middle to the top. She was somewhere in that bunch. She was like maybe 20
I
or
think
20.
the most
something
the
that.
most call for her there was ever been was like when people wanted to see her as a premier skin for Batman, because I think the impression people have is that moves wise she doesn't really fight different from him.
Sure. And I was, if this was before they confirmed that the premier skins can't be of the opposite gender because of hitboxes, which people speculated to be the case, and it was confirmed that that is the case. She was a front runner of premier skins that if we did a top premier skins to put in the game, she was going to be my number one for that list as well for a Batman premier skin, because I'd actually want to play the character in that case, because I do want her represented in this series. So yeah, I'll leave it at that though.
All right,
Razor, you're number 2.
Star Sapphire, for pretty much the same reasons Temp said, except she's higher on my list because I like Carol more.
All right.
Yeah, she's a good character.
Yeah, I like the
Why
way
not?
she interplays with Hal. Like they have a relationship that feels more realistic to me than most in comics because they argue and break up all the time.
I see it, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. All right, Chad.
See, number 2, Metallo. Was on my list before.
Yep.
Is on my list now. Shape-shifting metal user for the Chrome Fanatics. Fanatic.
Fanatic.
Never really did figure
Hey,
out how that worked.
You did put an S at the end of that word, and I think that was a mistake.
Fair enough. I mean, really fundamentally cool design. I've always thought that Superman's villain should get a little bit more showtime, and what you could do with like the concept of battle damage for John Corbin sitting there. I don't know, start the round like with his fake skin on it. Just have it like just peel off more and more every time he like takes a punch or two. Turn his arms into shit. Have him whack people around. I mean, he is perfectly suited to a fighting game like this. It needs to happen.
Yeah, I like Metallo too. I'm down with that.
I realize now, honestly, after listening to your entire all of your lists, like mine is the only list that does not have any female characters upon it, unless you count Montoya Question, and I now feel bad about that. Maybe I should knock Bronze Tiger off my list and replace with Batwoman at the least for diversity's sake.
I didn't make a deliberate effort to have a lot of women on my list. It just sort of worked out that way because those are the female the characters in DC that I like.
Sure.
Like my favorite characters are already on the roster, like the Flash, Green Lantern, Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Like most of my B-list favorites just happen to be girls.
I actually thought about cutting some. I feel like I almost had too many females on my list, so I wasn't sure what to do.
I just picked a bunch of people and concepts I thought were just really cool and shoved them on.
Hey, that works. You'll never have to do more than that.
Yeah.
It's your list. That was the deal.
All right. Well, then you're number 2, Temp.
I'll keep it short. St. Walker. For reasons I've given in the past, I love the character, I love the concept, I love the gameplay potential. Just love him.
I love him for Brother Worth, so I'm in clean agreement.
Yes, I like it.
But yes, all right. Well, then we'll go on to number 1s. Mine is no surprise at all if you've heard me say anything about the one character that's missing from this roster that I would definitely bump up into my top 2 or 3 characters that I would play immediately, and that is Katana, both from a gameplay perspective and a looking cool and being badass perspective. I just think she is a really interesting character to me, and I like the way she's designed, like look-wise, and I like the potential for her moveset. I like sort of a hybrid between how Katana and MKX plays and Kenshi, You can do all sorts of interesting stuff with ninja type, very graceful, very quick, very precise in her movements. That just sounds really fun to me. So yeah, my number one for that reason. And yeah, I've pretty much talked enough about her. Hope to see her. Razor?
And just to be clear, because people can't tell the spelling when you're saying it out loud.
Katana from Suicide Squad.
Yeah. K-A Katana.
Yes. Yes.
Ka, not Ki.
K.A. Katana. Known for the Suicide Squad, even though she's not technically a part of it. But yes, Katana that's the one I'm going for. DC Katana.
Right. My number one is Booster Gold. For pretty much the same reasons I picked Johnny Cage, some of the same reasons you guys picked Plastic Man.
Sure.
The game needs more funny people.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
And I guess the argument against him would be that mostly he's just a guy who flies and shoots, which is the same as Starfire or Firestorm. He also has he can make big force field bubbles, and he has time travel powers. And there's, as we've seen with the Flash's super, some cool stuff you can do with that.
I'd like to see the opposite effect with his time control powers. For his trait, instead of slowing down time where you can just beat the crap out of your opponent as they move slowly, I'd like to see, say your opponent does a combo on you, his trait can rewind time a certain degree back. I mean, obviously you'd have to balance it out to be cool, but as soon as he hits that trait button, you rewind maybe 3 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever. So you got to kind of time it perfectly. I think that would be really cool.
5 seconds is an eternity in a fighting game, so it would have to be a little shorter. But yeah,
and you'd and you'd get the time back on the play clock, and you would get your health back. Something like that would be interesting. I think, whatever was done during that. So mistakes were made. So say you open yourself up for a combo, that was a mistake, and then you rewind it back 3 seconds or whatever. You know what I mean? I think something like that would be fantastic for that character.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe have Skeets flying around.
Yeah, you get Skeets in there.
Have him voiced by the guy that voices Fry. Forget his name.
Sure, just give Clock King an inferiority complex right away. Why not? I can only admire. Yes, I've been drinking. He can only admire the clocks. Who's the oldest one with them?
All right. So Shad, you're number one.
Now, this is tricky territory because the character hasn't been confirmed, but he sort of has. We all kind of know we're going to get him. We're going to be very surprised if we don't, because that's a lot of misleading information we're running off of.
The Riddler?
No.
The Riddler?
The Riddler?
We've solved it.
I actually did come up with a cool way to make Two-Face work, but I'll save that for another day.
I want to hear that.
Oh, well, basically, it's quick. You make
Two-Face would be on my list if I actually thought it was a fighting game.
Here's how you can make him fit in the game. One, you give him a lot of gun attacks, obviously, and two, he can have martial arts. I mean, he was trained by Batman at one point, so I mean, he can do things. But the reason why the reason why I want him, obviously, is because I like the character a lot. He's one of my favorite Batman villains. But how you do him is you make his trait. It's when you hit his trait, it either comes up heads, bad heads or good heads. If it comes up bad heads, you give him a power buff, and he does more damage, and he gets attacks that are more vicious, and he's just all around way more vicious with his attacks. If it comes up good heads, he's more defensive and strategic with his movements, and much more, defense-based, much more zonery, whereas when it's bad heads, he's much more rush down. So I don't know, something like that would be really interesting.
I like it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
50-50 trait that either way comes out good. It just kind of changes how you play, but I think it'd be a cool way to do him. And for his intros and personality and stuff, I think give him a go. Not in this game, but maybe the next go around. Maybe he'll be the next cycled in Batman villain. I'd take him. Anyways, you're number one, sir.
Yeah, it's Red Hood.
Yeah, I think out of all of the characters on all of our lists, I think he has the best shot.
Bomb helmets
actually happen, yeah.
Uzis, anything you can freaking think of to name, he's got it. And he's always been one of my favorite characters going back since I was a kid, as Jason Todd. So the notion of actually seeing him in another game and being able to play as him, couldn't ask for more. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I like Red Hood a lot. He didn't make my list, but it's not because I dislike him. It's just because I don't know. I don't know why I didn't put him on there, other than I wanted all these other characters, and I feel like Red Hood is a guarantee at this point, so I don't need to
assuming
hope
he's
for
there,
him.
it's kind of a guarantee that
Yeah.
you're working with guns and hands, and he's probably gonna have some teleports and maybe some electrical cables and traps and bombs and who knows what. And
Yeah.
yeah, there are characters who can do that a lot better. I wouldn't deny that, but this is after all a fuck you. This is who I want list.
Sure.
We have Deadshot. We had Deathstroke. It's arguable those characters can both do what Jason has and Jason does and better, but
And they'll make him different. They'll still make
Yeah,
him work and interesting.
hoping.
So
I'm hoping.
yeah, definitely cool. All right, your number one, Temp.
The Spectre. I do want to say why it's not Starfire. Starfire did not make my list, not because I don't love the character. I probably love Starfire than easily more than all the choices I mentioned, but I just don't think the timing's right. It's kind of like Zatanna. Let's wait. I don't think she's a good fit for this roster. Let's bring all the Teen Titans back in a big way next game. I don't want to write her off as DLC like we do with Martian Manhunter. But the Spectre, I think his gameplay potential is insane. I think his design is absolutely badass. I think the gear potential is better than people think. I don't think it'll be amazing, but I think people aren't giving enough credit. With shaders, the Spectre could look fucking badass. Speaking of gameplay, slightly off topic, and we don't. If you guys already talked about it, I'll wait till next week. But did you discuss Green Lantern's gameplay?
No, we just kind of said that it's pretty similar to what he had before, other than we haven't really seen a whole lot other than the few gameplay things on YouTube.
I looked at other channels. I'll say I was pretty disappointed. I was actually really disappointed, but I'll save it. We'll cover that next week. But the Spectre, yeah.
That sucks that your
think he's
secret
cool.
character disappointed you like that.
He may or may not be my secret character. I have revealed nothing. He's in that territory.
It's because he's not. It's Batman. I figured it out, motherfucker.
It could be Batman.
Going on record.
Does the audience have context?
No, not at all. This is a complete inside thing that they have no clue. But anyways, continue.
Yes, God, I think the Spectre would be badass. There's almost no super move, finishing move. God, finishing move, wow. There's almost no super move you could give him that wouldn't be, like, amazing. Like, God, the potential's insane. And, I mean, he's probably my favorite DC Comics character. I can't not pick him anymore as my number one for anything. Until he's in the game, in some capacity, he will always be my number one. Just because I've read so many comics with him now, and I think he's so interesting. But if Spawn's in, I doubt we'll see the Spectre. It's two ethereal characters with capes. I don't see it happening, but anyway.
Spawn ethereal?
I mean, it's from hell.
Sort of. Kind of.
Scorpion-y.
Okay.
Ethereal's a very broad category. As a matter of fact, it's more of an aesthetic than it is an actual metaphysical way of being.
He's definitely got fleshy bits in there. The only way, if I remember right, to kill Spawn is via decapitation.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he can be damaged and blown up and whatnot.
But yeah, I don't think one necessarily negates the other. I feel like Spectre can make it. I just, for some reason,
I agree,
I still don't understand why people say this. Like, how could Dr. Manhattan work? How could Spectre work? How could Phantom Stranger work? They're all too OP in terms of power level. It's like, guys, this is a game where Harley's fighting Superman and so forth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fighting game at the end of the day. It doesn't have to make sense in a power level. It's for fun. It's to represent a character. So I'd like to see the Spectre. I mean, he was in the comics to some degree, obviously not in the Spectre that we know, but I mean, I hope that's not the last we see of him, and I want to see him in the actual game, because, yeah, he's a cool character. So hopefully, if he doesn't make it DLC this time, I'm hoping Injustice 3, but yeah, I don't know. But that wraps up our list, and that'll wrap up this episode. We will know in just a few hours, actually. In less than 12 hours, we're going to know at least the first batch of DLC. I expect them to reveal at least the first 3 characters. So we'll know, if any of them are on our list. I think Red Hood obviously stands the best chance, and we're all in agreement there. But it'd be cool to see, because we did so well on our wish list for the games roster, like the starting roster. We all did really well. We all had at least 3 to 4 characters on our list from those lists, and with DLC, it could potentially even be even more from those initial lists that we did, because I know Red Hood was on yours, Shads. So, yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how well we did there. Hopefully, with the wish list for DLC, we'll at least get hopefully each of us at least get 1 on our list. So, I guess time will tell. And did you have anything else to add? All right, I'll take that as a no.
Nope.
Okay.
Got nothing.
And
I'm drunk. I'm good.
Okay. Well, then we'll see you next week for episode 65. So Nethercast 64 is ended. So go ahead and just turn off the power on your Nethercast 64. And you guys take care. The game's coming soon. We only have 1 more episode after this one to go before the game is in our hands. And it's going to be a doozy, folks. So stay tuned. See you next time. See you next week. Take care.
Doodles.
Later, everybody.
Prepare for the Nether Cube, the podcast you can run over with your car and not destroy.
It also has a handle.
It does. It is a podcast with a handle. And it's going to be purple. Indigo purple.
Indigo purple. Indigo 1. Adios.
Good night.
That was pathetic.